Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we've got a ×10 summon event, as we expect, coming up from tomorrow. So from tomorrow, and I guess as I thought it was going to be, it's all of the new champions, or a good chunk of the new champions. They're actually missing the one champion that I really want. So for me, I'm probably out, but there's some really, really cool new epics in the mix. Some of the best epics in the game for me that have come from this kind of new pool of champions. So we're going to go through who they are. I'm going to show you their multipliers as well from the site after each one, so you can kind of get a feel for, you know, who should you be trying to go for, or who should you build if you get them over the weekend. So let's start off then. First on the list is Udo Hugo, whatever the name is. Pretty unique champion actually for Raid in terms of her kit, and from what I've seen, I don't have her myself, from what I've seen from videos that people are putting out, people are liking this champion a lot. So we've got a leech ability on an A1. I really like leech as an ability anyway, especially for like most content now. You need that sustain in your team. It's only a 35% chance to land, but if you're up against a team, it's going to be going up to like 40, 50. Single target, it's okay. The main place that I like this is actually boss fights, and 35 or 40% chance to land against a boss is like okay. But it's a nice utility A1. We've got an AoE, boosts up to 100% chance to land, decreased defense. I love 100% chance to land, decreased defense, 3-turn cooldown, same as Stag Knight, same as the Huck. Better than most legendaries, that is. Better than most legendaries. So really, really cool. Also 50% chance of placing block buffs. Really cool for the arena. Really cool for Doom Tower. So, and Faction Wars actually. So really strong. The chance of placing the block buffs increases by 5% for each enemy alive. So again, you've got 75% with books. If you're fighting a team of 5 like Doom Tower or Faction Wars, 100% chance to place block buffs. So block buffs and decreased defense on the same move on a 3-turn cooldown. It's actually kind of bonkers. Also got this remove all heal reduction debuffs from all allies on a 4-turn cooldown. Then remove one random debuff, then heals all allies. All of that is awesome. I like this as well. If all allies are dead, revives them instead and fills their turn meter. It's kind of bonkers good as well. And it goes really well with this passive that has got an increased speed and block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever this champion's the last person alive. All of that kit is kind of crazy good. Kind of crazy good. Like one of the better epics out there now, I'd say. From her kit. I've not used her. Let's see what her multipliers look like. So this is for any member of the site. Don't have to pay just to be a member. Champion lookup tool here. Let's find her. Udo. So we've got an average A1, average A2. So she's not in there to hit. She's in there for all of that great utility, but she's not going to be bringing a ton of damage. Good multipliers, actually, but because she's got such a low base attack and all of her damage is based on attack, the multipliers don't bring it up to hard hits. You wouldn't expect it from someone who does so much. So that's number one. Second one up then is the Hermits. Again, I don't have this guy yet. Wispy looking fella. So HP burn on an A1. I guess that's kind of nice for something like Doom Tower now if you really need the HP burn for Sorath. So we've got another person bringing it in, 40% chance. Increase attack on all allies and turn me to fill on an A2. It's okay. And revive 2 champions with 60% HP and fills their turn meters by 40% and gives them a veil. The kit's okay. The kit's okay. We've got a bit of turn meter boost. We've got some increased attack, a bit like what Seeker does. We've got an HP burn. You know, it's okay. From what I've seen in terms of playtest, people are not loving this guy. But I think for Faction Wars, for what part was he again? Orcs. For Orcs, in terms of like reviving champions, we've got Shaymin. I think Shaymin's the only one. So for people trying to get through Orcs, actually a good shout to use this guy. Doesn't really do damaging abilities. Like all of his kit is about it's about supporting the team. So actually this doesn't hit. This doesn't hit. This is the only thing that hits, and it's got an average hit, so he's got no damage. This guy's got no damage at all. He's pure utility. Right, Armenia next. The big Armenia. Watch out on a dark night if you face this chick. She is going to take you down with that big club. So yeah, cool champion. I like what they've done with her here. Very different to other champions we've got. Crazy low base defense. Crazy low. Which means always difficult to keep someone like this alive. But let's see what she's got. A1 stun. It's okay. Another AoE decreased defense. 100% chance to land. It's actually awesome. Plus, she steals turn meter at the same time. Another free turn cooldown. Like, they're really bringing out epics that rival legendaries in terms of these type of skills and are way better than some of the older epics out there now. So, it's a bit crazy, but this ability is awesome. She's got decreases turn meter of all enemies and then a chance to place a stun, books to 100, for 1 turn on enemies who have got their turn meters depleted. It's kind of cool as well. This is kind of nice for Spider, I'd say. Positive affinity for Spider as well. Fills this turn meter by 10% every time there's a stun. You can pair her with other stun champions, but this base defense is low. I'd say for Spider, it's going to be good. Perhaps in Faction Wars could be good if you make sure she's not the target. She does have good base HP, so you can kind of build up her stats so that she's not the target. Let's see what her multipliers look like. Strong and strong. So she's kind of like a mid-tier damage dealer. She's not going to do tons of damage, but she does reasonable damage. Single target here. AoE here. So her AoE decreased defense actually can hit. It hits for a decent amount. But, as I say, difficult to keep alive in a lot of situations. So, you know, you won't be throwing this Chica into the arena unless, I guess, maybe she comes in for your decreased defense. You do a nice hit at the same time. She steals turn meter at the same time. That's a really cool arena move. And also an AoE potential stun is a really cool arena move. Free turn cooldown. But, yeah, if she takes a hit, she's probably going down. Okay, next one up is going to be... where is she? Where is she? Salah the Mourner. She is a Banner Lord. So, Dark Martyr. I really love this skin. The skin looks strangely cool. I just think they've done such a cool job in this one. Don't look her in the eyes, guys. Don't look her in the eyes. So, yeah, what's she all about? Good base speed, good base health. She's an attack-based champion with a reasonable base attack, not high. She's a support champ. So she's got decreased turn meter by 10%. Compared to other decreased turn meters out there, this is weak. I don't know why they keep bringing out so many weak decreased turn meter on her A1. AoE decrease attack and increase attack for you. It's kind of nice. Revive all dead allies. Fills turn meter. Puts increased defense and strengthen. Those two buffs are huge. And she's got speed in Doom Tower. Now, I feel like she's worse than most champions we've seen so far in this set. This is kind of cool for Bannerlords. You know, if you want that revived champion to help you through Faction Wars, she's going to help a ton for that. Decrease attack, you're going to take less damage generally. Bit of turn meter control. I'd say it's all like okay. I wouldn't say she's crazy. I've not playtested her myself, but I do not think in terms of a kit, she's crazy. Let's see what she's like in terms of damage. Weak. Oh, well, average, but that's kind of on the weak side. So she's not going to hit. You don't really expect her to with the type of role that she plays, but some of these do. So yeah, so I wouldn't be going all out in Void Shards for this chick myself. Leave me a comment below if you've playtested her though and you think differently. But my initial view is this is cool for Faction Wars. She's definitely good for that. But like general content, I don't feel like she gets ahead of a lot of epics out there. Okay, next one up. A lot of people have been raving about this guy. I just pulled him the other day, actually. Vogoth. Lots of defense, lots of HP, HP based. So you've got triple hit, chance to increase debuffs. It's random. This isn't like a Vizier increase all debuffs. Each hit will increase one random debuff potentially. So it's a weak source. It's a weak source version of debuff. What do you call it? I can't remember what the words are. Of increasing the number of debuffs versus, you know, like Vizier, even versus Bulwark, Warlord. Yeah, all of those guys that do it already. This is like a very weak version of it. Does have, though, AoE provoke and AoE decrease attack, which is nice. Not full, though. 75% chance for both of these things. So it's okay, but not crazy. 3-turn cooldown is nice. But this is where he gets good. His passives are really strong. Whenever he's attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage that he takes. Build him up as a high HP tank. He's going to be... Or actually, you can keep his defense kind of low. High HP. He takes the hit and he'll heal your team for a ton of life. So that's kind of cool, actually. 25% from bosses, though, but still cool. And then he's got this leech debuff on his other passive. Whenever attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. So that's actually awesome. If the attacker's under provoke, so you've got this 75% chance of provoke here if you book him. Debuff placed by this champion also can book to 100% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on the attacker. That's cool as well. That's actually very cool. So, good kit, actually. Good kit. Only got 2 skills. He's only got 1 skill that can cool down. So, if you put him in something like reflex gear, this can cool down really quick. Let's see if he can hit. Vote off. Average, weak. No, so he doesn't hit at all. He's a weak source hitter, but got good kit. So there you go. People have been raving about him. Let me know again if you've used him already. What's your thoughts? So next one up is the Chancellor. I was kind of harsh on this girl in the pre-release. She's like a mini Cathalia, but I did saw Ash's video on her, and she seems to have this kind of wanton need to do this A3 skill even before anybody's have a turn. So even if there's no buffs to remove, she does this, which basically means she goes, "Pada!" and does nothing at all, and wastes a turn. So that's a pretty poor bit of code in there, to be honest. But we've got what here? A1 places an extra hit if there's no buffs. Okay. A2, big heal, chunky heal, can book to a 2-turn cooldown, which is kind of nice. But it's still single target heal. I'm not a massive fan of this, but it's not terrible either. And then she's got this skill, which is actually very cool. Chance to remove all buffs, then sleep. But as I say, she does it out of sync with when she should do it. Speed in all battles is nice. Good base stats, really high base speed. So if you need like a healer that's going to rotate the heal really fast, then I guess she's good for that. I still personally do not rate her, as high as others do, but that's just my personal opinion. Right, next one's then. We've got 2 legendaries in the mix, both of them the new ones. I've got one and did a guide on him, who is King Garog. I was really disappointed, actually, with this guy. King Garog, his A3 actually hits pretty well. His A3 hits pretty well in the arena. In the arena, you can clear a wave. You can clear a whole team with this A3, no problem. So he's got ignore defense. But in terms of like wave progression, taking down really any content other than the arena, he's totally bang average. He's got a passive that increases his speed and crit damage over time. So as he kills people, he gets more and more. And I guess they've kind of tuned him down so that this doesn't become outrageous. But there's not really any content in the game right now where this can become outrageous. There's not like a waves content where you continuously fight over and over. Doom Tower, he really doesn't cut it in terms of damage compared to other damage dealers that are legendary. He looks freaking awesome. Like, he looks probably my favorite looking champion in the game right now. But yeah, just bang average champion at the minute. 4-hitter here was actually kind of cool, and it cools down this ability, but they don't hit very hard. Fire Knight, yes, you'll get some work from him because of the 4 hits, because of the ignore defense for the waves, but really, he's not worth your time. And all these books, legendary books, I wasted mine at the moment. He feels like he needs a buff already. So, King Garog, unfortunately, not that great. And if we look at him on the site here, it shows a strong, godlike strong. I think this is godlike, but because it's a 4-hitter, we actually probably need to review whether this has come through right. Because for me, I don't feel like these numbers are right. The strong AoE, I get it. That totally makes sense. The A1 and the A2 probably don't feel like that's coming through properly for me. So I'm going to speak to Saf just to have a check on these numbers, because these two, I'd say, feel a bit more like average, strong. Which for a legendary, and these are compared to any champion in the game. For a legendary, he's definitely, this is maybe as misleading, I think. So last one up then is Roxam. Roxam is a lizardman. His kit looks very cool. And he looks very cool as well. He looks like he's going to a party. Really like the skin. Very high base attack again. Average base defense. Average base speed. Not bad. So everything he does, every move has got a chance to place a perfect veil on him. Perfect veil is a great buff, by the way. Hides him, makes him take less damage from AoE hits. So it's actually a cool buff. So he's got 50% chance of filling his turn meter by 10% on his hits. Also places veil if he does a crit. Or 50%, 60% if you book him chance of placing a veil if he does a crit. A2, this is where things get a bit more interesting. So A2 can have a 3-turn cooldown. 100% if you book him, chance of placing a stun when you're under a veil. Let's start at the top. Fills his champion's turn meter by 50%. Okay. 100% chance of placing a stun when you're under a veil. 100% chance of placing a sleep for a turn when you're attacking without a veil. So whoever you're taking on, if you book him, you've got 100% chance, as long as you've got the accuracy and it's not a weak hit, of... Oh no, it's placing actually. 100% chance, whether you do a weak hit or not, of locking that person out with some form of crowd control. Obviously, the stun is way better than a sleep, because the sleep, you can just wake him up. After he goes, places a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns. Okay, the A2 is cool. The A3 is where it gets really juicy, but he defaults to A3 first, and he needs a veil on before the A3 becomes really juicy. So it's kind of like annoying. It's annoying the way they've done his kit in a way, because the A3 is the big move. This is his move, and it is only really effective when he gets his veil on. On auto, you're not going to get the veil on before he does it. So while under a veil, AoE, decrease defense and weaken, 100% chance if booked. Decreases the cooldown of the jungle ambush skill by 2 turns, which is the A2. So you should go A2, A3, back into A2. That's the way it should work. If he doesn't have veil or perfect veil, he attacks one enemy and does the skill. And instead, he'll put perfect veil on himself instead of reducing the cooldown. It's still okay. And if you're talking about something like Clan Boss, well, he gives you decreased defense and weaken on the same skill, and this guy can hit. And he gives himself perfect veils, which means he'll take less damage from the AoE hits coming in. So it's kind of cool, but I just feel like, again, his AI is a bit wonky. He's also got this passive here, places block debuff, strengthen for 1 turn, and heal for 2 turns whenever he gets a veil or perfect veil. Again, for Clan Boss, this guy could actually be pretty insane. Block debuffs, continuous heal, and strengthen. Strengthen's an awesome, awesome buff. Block debuffs is an awesome buff. And for general content as well, he's going to be decent, but his AI is just a bit weird. Now, when we check his multipliers, this guy has got the best multipliers of any AoE decreased defense and weakened champion for placing those skills. So looking at the multipliers then, Roxam, we've got average A1, okay. You've got a godlike A2, so 6.1 multiplier on his sort of attack. He's one-shotting someone on an A2, no problem. A3, when he's attacking a single target, it's really high multiplier, 6.4, godlike. When he's attacking a team, it's a 4 multiplier, which for this style of champion is still godlike actually. With his base attack, that still hits for high damage. If we compare it to a Candraphon, just to give you a sense, Candraphon on his big smack AoE has got a 3.7 multiplier, godlike. Obviously, he gets the bonus damage from Veil, but you can see that Roxam's damage is high, but his AI is just a bit wafty. So I personally would really like Roxam. I've obviously got King Garog already. But the new epics, guys, the new champions feel strong. They feel like they've got their place. They've been well thought out. Some of the AIs are a bit weird, but if you're going to pull shards this weekend, you're probably going to get yourself some nice epics. So anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Another times 10, as we always expect. It comes with a summon rush at the same time. Yeah, I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you later.